How you doing, everybody? This is Indeed Gaming here. I am in fact Mr. Indeed, and welcome to my channel. Please do like, share, and comment on this video, and we are going to get right into it. Now, this video is kind of I guess you could call it a response video to ToeKnee's video. Very popular For Honor YouTuber, actually one of my favorite For Honor YouTubers, because he just kind of plays the game and has fun, which is, it's like I feel like a lot of people don't do that anymore. Everybody just wants to be really good for some reason. It's like he seems like he just plays the game and just has fun with it, so I respect that. So he's always been one of my favorites. I'm gonna leave a link to his original video on this in the description below. But I actually commented on that video, and I wanted to make a video responding to it just because I kind of wanted to put my 2 cents into the conversation. His video basically was, can For Honor survive, and what would it need to do to survive? Now, I've had my own opinions on that personally for some time now. I think an answer to his question is yes and no. Can For Honor survive? Yes. Will For Honor survive? I don't think so. I think it's a no on that question. And I think there's a multiple amount of reasons for that. I think that one of the reasons that For Honor's not going to survive is that the devs, I don't think, have the amount of funding that they need to do what needs to be done to keep this game going. And I also don't think they have, and I could be wrong about this particular one, I don't think that they have a very good vision for where they want their game to go. I think that all the gag emotes and executions and effects and all these other things that they've been putting in the game, I think are really trash for the game. I hate all of them. That's not true. The only thing that I think the one thing that they put into the game that I've liked that they put in was the thing where you like punch the soul out of the person execution. That's the only one that I liked. I think everything else has been really dumb. I hate all of the music stuff. I hate all the dancing things. I hate the shrug. I hate the poses. I hate all of them. I hate every single one of them. But I mean, I think the reason I don't like those things is because it's not what I got For Honor for. For Honor, for me, and plus if you remember the original trailers for it, it was like it looked gritty, it looked like a war, it looked serious. And now For Honor is like a joke. And I feel like the community has kind of followed suit with that. Most of the time, everybody just trolls, they spam wow and thanks and sorry in the game, like, forever. It's like for no reason. And I personally, I never engage in any of that stuff. I just say good fight all the time. I don't really care. But it's just lame, in my opinion. But what could For Honor do to survive? I think that's a more interesting question. Well, a more interesting answer. For me, I think that for Honor to survive, they would have to, one, be able to go back to being able to drop 2 heroes every season, which obviously is a funding issue. They would also have to go back to being able to drop new armor every season, which again is a funding issue. And then obviously going into new executions, unique executions for each new hero, viable reworks for all of the weak heroes. I could go on and on about stuff like that, but I think even more than those things, what you can do to your character, even though I think customization is very important, I think a new game mode would be more important. For example, let's say they dropped Tribute, they dropped whatever that skirmish, there we go. Even though I actually like deathmatch personally. I've always liked deathmatch, but you can just never find any games, so it sucks. But if they drop deathmatch, Say they drop those modes and they stop doing all these event things. Say they dropped all that stuff and they're like, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna bunker down on coming up with a PvE large scale war mode. So basically what this would be is Dynasty Warriors and For Honor would be merging. As far as like, if you've ever played a Dynasty Warriors game, you know you're on a big map. There's a lot of bases that you need to take before you can get the enemy commander to come out. There's a lot of minions you have to kill. There's a lot of captains, generals, actual named heroes that you have to fight, that you have to go through to be able to, get the main person to actually come out. If I remember correctly, some quicker games, the main person would be out already, and it's like you could just go straight to him and kill him, depending on how good you were at the game or how strong your character was at the time. But anyway, say they did that for Honor. Say they did a whole bunch of huge maps that were based on the premise of knights versus samurais versus Vikings versus Wulan. And depending on whatever was going on, and now it might even be a little bit easier just because they seem to have kind of shrunk that down to the Chimera versus the Horikos. So it would just be Horikos versus Chimera, and you would just choose a side for whatever particular mission you were playing. You start the mission off, you have 4 people on your team. You guys are at one end of the map. Where the enemy commander will show up is on the other end of the map. There's a bunch of different bases and fixtures in between you and that point. There's a lot of different captains. There's a lot of different generals. And when I say generals, I mean you would be fighting NPC bosses of raiders, of Orochis, of Jang Juns. Some of them would be named. Some of them would just be regular bots. And when I say named, I mean like lore named generals, NPCs. You would go through different minion patches where your minions will be fighting their minions. Minion killing animations would be back in this mode, particularly, at least. It would make new ones for the new heroes like Vortigern, like Hitokiri and stuff like that. And you would have to go through, you would have to clear certain minions in more open parts of the map. You would have to clear minions and captains and generals in different bases. There would be cavalry that may attack one of your bases that you've taken over. You would have to control a certain amount of bases, period, before the boss would actually show up. And when the boss shows up with, other NPC generals, so it's not just you 4 ganking this one NPC. And this NPC boss wouldn't be like the boss in Breach. It would be like another actual like raider or warden or something like that. Of course they would have more health and they would have certain buffs or whatever. And then you and your team would have to band together to kill that general and to kill the boss. This mode would also come with different feats that kind of fit more of a wide scale war. So say if you're an Orochi and you call for arrows, instead of just random arrows showing up, you would still have that feat, because I think that feat would work well, but you'd have a feat where you do that and then NPC archers show up and then they help move your group of minions forward through the minions that they're fighting, and you guys can get into the base better and clear base and minions better, or they would be shooting captains and generals while you're fighting them, and that would just be something that could help you in the fight. That's just an example, but they could do the same for the knights, except for knights maybe they would have them have crossbows or something like that. Maybe if you get a new 4th feat they could have would be Warden calling in for cavalry, and they would actually have horsemen come through with spears and clear out a row of minions and do heavy damage to captains or generals, something like that. I think a mode like that would be a nice change of pace for Honor. So even people who had left For Honor, would be even more likely to come back because it's something new. Now, obviously, a mode like this would have to come with unique rewards because at the end of the day, you want rewards. New rewards would be like a multitude of unique and maybe even historically accurate ornaments for things like for the samurais, knights, Vikings, Wulin, unique armor pieces that you can only get in that mode, unique embossings that you can only get in that mode, unique materials you can only get in that mode, things like that. I think that would be a nice change of pace for this game, because at the end of the day, like Tony said in the video, it does just become the same thing over and over again. You're playing on a lot of the same maps, you're playing a lot of the same characters, you get so used to the way everybody plays the game, and I think it would be a nice way to kind of mitigate the trolling of the game in general, because For Honor's community is pretty toxic, and it's just kind of like for no reason. And it's like, I mean, if you go into a PvE mode, I feel like you're not really going to be dealing with that so much. It would be a nice like kind of change of pace and a way to kind of get away from that kind of stuff if you don't really feel like dealing with it. But yeah, I think that a mode like that would be the best way for this game to go forward, just because it's like, I mean, they're still gonna have, you know, duels, brawls, Dominion, Breach, and you still want to do those PvP things, but having a PvE mode like that also could be what they use, like if they have an event, it would be in that mode, would be a nice change of pace. And obviously that would have to come with a multitude of different maps, a multitude of different bosses, different objectives within that PvE mode. So, you know, maybe some things would cause you and your team to have to break up, and all of you have to go solo and go to different objectives. Maybe you have to break up into teams of 2, and maybe all 4 of you have to come together to beat this one part, and, you know, get into a castle or something like that, break through it, and, you know, get the ladder people to bring the ladder to the wall and climb over and stuff like that. I think that a mode like that would really reinvigorate the game. And unfortunately, you know, it's nice to say all those things, but I don't even think that For Honor has the funding for something like that. I think if they were going to do something like that, it would have to be a completely different game. I mean, I would like to think, and I have no way of knowing to be clear, but I would like to think it would be easier for them to get the funding to do something like that and just update For Honor instead of getting the funding to make a completely new game and have the new marketing and all that other stuff. But I don't know. But that's just my opinion on it. Just thought I would put my 2 cents into it because I really liked Tony's video about it. Like I said, I will put Tony's video's link in the description below. Please do comment on this video on your opinion. Go comment on his video as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. Indeed.